Good evening, everybody. So these videos that I'm going to try to do, I've been having some problems trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to vlog about. And some of that came about because, I didn't always have time to write out the really nice scripted content that I wanted to do, but I also didn't want to make really overlong videos either. So I definitely wanted to be able to work through that in some possible way, but it still would have taken time to figure out exactly how I was going to do that. And if any of you know, what it's like to, live life in the days that we do now, sometimes, time comes at a premium. That being said, I did end up finding out about this company called Best Self, and they're not sponsoring anything. This is just me talking about this product. This is something called a Wordsmith Deck, and I take it it's been pretty popular because this was on back order. So what it actually says on the box, less writer's block, more writing. I thought, well, I really don't know what would be in this deck or what to expect, and when I got it, I opened it up, and it came with this large stack of cards. Now, these are all subject matter. So they're fairly open-ended questions and statements that are meant to trigger anything to get you over writer's block. But it sort of dawned on me, well, wait a minute, what if I were to take one of those things and maybe attach it to a small video just to kind of get, not only some practice, but some thoughts out there and go along that route. So I had gone through them and they were pretty interesting. So the first one, ironically, the first one that I came across on the deck when I just sat it down was the question, why don't you have enough time? What don't you have enough time to do? And then why? Man, talk about a timely card. So, okay, I guess what I can say is, okay, so why don't you have enough time? What don't you have enough time to do? I don't have enough time to do anything, but honestly, that's such an inaccurate comment to make. The fact of the matter is, and I've talked about this in myriad forms before, time management is something I'm just not great at, and I've had issues with that before because either I don't recognize or realize what I have to do to keep things going on a good plane when I'm at my day job. And currently right now I'm working part-time contractually. I go in and I know that the work will already be either laid out or projects will come across my board, and I can dictate to myself in a spiral notebook, like, this is what I have to get done, and get it done and get it out. And there's resources there, other people I can talk to get these things taken care of and not have any issues with them. When it comes to my own work, I think that sometimes because of the fact that maybe I'm working on a project where I'm not seeing immediate, payback, whether it's, not necessarily freelance work, but if it's something like creating any illustrations or anything else like that, that's when I feel like I don't really have the time that I need to get things completed. And it's been a really frustrating thing. Even like this, I almost decided I wasn't going to do this video because I had told myself, okay, I'm not going to do any more late night videos because it's just, it's a little depressing to kind of see the studio in the dark and that sort of thing, although this is my favorite time to work. And I think the biggest thing that I went through was, going back to this, I think I don't make enough time to organize the time that I do have. So maybe that's probably absolutely. And then when it says why, because I procrastinate, because I feel that I'm going to fill up my day with all these other things. And honestly, sometimes after I get home from 8 hours of staring at a computer monitor at work, I don't really want to jump on the screens I have here and take a look at anything and work with anything. Sometimes it's just I want to sit down and be able to, watch Netflix or, play video games or something along that line. Maybe even occasionally draw just for the hell of it and be messy or whatever. But it doesn't always work out that way. And even to that point tonight, I had work that I was doing digitally earlier. And normally in my schedule, I have it to where I'm trying to draw every single day. I mean, that's just a good habit to get into if you're an artist, especially somebody that does a lot of illustration. And it didn't really work out for me, the illustration tonight, that is, because I usually try and allocate an hour's worth of time. And I started going a little bit longer into it, and I did like the direction it was going in, but I started to kind of hit burnout. And it was like happening right as I was finishing up rendering part of the character, and I had already designed the beast that she was riding on. It just fell flat, and I really didn't like it. So, now the interesting part about this is going to be, so I positioned this question to myself, like, again, what don't you have enough time to do and why? So maybe this is something where, as I'm working through these, I can look at the other ones and put more questions out there for myself. Maybe having looked through the deck, it's really fascinating because there's a huge number of subjects in there that, as intertwined as they are, they're clearly meant for anybody and everybody. This isn't just a deck that could work for writers or artists or creatives in general. It could work for anyone, and not just for journaling, but even just, it's kind of weird. I wouldn't say it's like life affirmation or anything like that, but it definitely, when you're flipping through the cards, there's one here, like, what is the dominant emotion in your life right now? And how can you use this emotion to improve your life? They start to get pretty deep with it, and I don't know how many of these I'll get through, how long I'll be able to, I'm hoping that I can actually make it through the majority of this deck and see what ends up coming from that. But, I think that maybe I had some sort of at least small triumph, because I did tell myself, I don't have the time to do the video right now. But I did. I made the time. I quickly set up the mic, the camera. I mean, actually, this was already set up anyway. And I designed it as such so that I could, make quick videos if I wanted to. But I needed something that was going to be faster than me writing out scripts and giving, a lot of wherewithal in the thinking and thought process. So maybe it's just accepting the fact that some of my output is going to be a little bit rougher, a little bit more, unplanned. And that's okay. It can be that way, because I do want to create more content. I do want to become more active, and the point where I'm going to be, ready to jump into Twitch and start, live broadcasting and doing that sort of thing, that's a daunting enough thought as it is right now. So maybe this will help establish some sort of comfort zone for me to be in. I don't mind making videos, and I don't mind going back, not unlike what I'm doing with this one, where I'm going to go back and edit it slightly. Now, I'm not editing out anything that I'm saying. Otherwise, I had given some thought, throughout the better part of today as to what I was going to say in this video. But we'll see how this goes. I'm a little nervous about some of these. Okay, I just picked another random one here. What's the best career compliment you've ever received? Describe the situation. There's a lot of storytelling that's going to come from this stuff, and I'm going to try and keep all of those videos under 5 minutes if I can. So that's the first one there, and I guess the meat of the answer is essentially, what don't I have enough time to do? And that is plan and make and execute really good output. And I need to do that, whether that's my art, whether that's creating videos, whether that's sticking to what my schedule on my calendar says to do, where I've started to pocket out areas where I'm like, okay, you're going to draw it this time, you're going to do all these things. In the calendar, if any of you use Google Calendar, the algorithm works to try and find free time for you, and it's actually pretty surprisingly good at finding the time. It's just, it may not necessarily be when I want to do it, but, the other option is that I don't do it, and that's just terrible. Anyway, so I'm going to end this video now that I've kind of looked over this one, and I will give this deck more of a proper review, because I was going to do some videos where I'm covering the tools that I'm using to kind of get through, not just like, hey, here's a pen, here's how it draws, but other tools like this that hopefully can help other creatives and people out there that are just having some, a hell of a time trying to focus or find a pathway into thinking critically, originally, in any particular way. So thanks for watching, and I'll have more of these. Hopefully, I'm not going to overpromise on this, because I'm going to underdeliver if I do. Maybe once a week, and then just kind of go through that. So come on, not that many weeks in a year. I won't get through the whole deck, but I can go through the ones I can and do some stream of consciousness sort of things like this. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and click like below. You know the whole deal. I don't have to remind you guys that. I feel like a cheap car salesman every time I'm like, like, comment, subscribe. It's not what it's about. Not really. I'll be surprised if anyone actually starts to watch these things, and half the time I don't even really put these things out there for a lot of people to watch as much. I like it when people do. I like it when I get compliments and comments back, and I've gotten some great feedback recently. But a lot of it's cathartic for me, and if people enjoy what I'm putting out, great. So, yeah. Thanks again, guys.